2 hours and 47 minutes into the engagement, All Might stands inside a perimeter of 500 T-14 Armata tanks, the most accurate tank guns ever built, with 13 minutes of hero form remaining. Not 13 minutes until defeat. 13 minutes until he becomes Toshinori Yagi, a frail man. No quirk, no durability, no strength. 200 civilians are 6 miles north, and the Russian commander is not watching the tanks. He is watching the clock. This is All Might versus the Russian military. Before this ends, the Russian GRU has a classified intelligence file containing All Might's exact time limit, built from 10 years of hero battle observation. And at one point in this engagement, All Might makes a single decision that burns 22 minutes of his remaining time in 4 minutes of combat. Stay with this. March 2027. All Might intervenes in a Russian military operation in Eastern Europe, crossing into Russian-designated sovereign airspace to protect a civilian convoy. Within 24 hours, the Kremlin receives a briefing from GRU, military intelligence, the All Might file, classified for a decade, detailing one critical vulnerability the world does not know about. The file is 3 pages. The strategy it produces is 1 sentence. Operation ZAKAT is authorized Russian for sunset. Russia is not sending its military to win, it is sending its military to wait. 0600 hours. 0 minutes of hero form consumed. 2 hours and 58 minutes remaining. GRU Spetsnaz operators establish positions across a 12-kilometer radius in eastern Poland. Their primary weapon is the OSV-9-6 anti-material rifle, a 50-caliber equivalent platform, firing at 2,750 feet per second, delivering 12,700 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. Secondary teams carry the SVDK sniper system, chambered in 9x39mm subsonic, a round designed specifically to penetrate body armor without a sound signature. In My Hero Academia Season 2 Episode 23, All Might absorbs a direct point-blank strike from Nomu, a being engineered specifically to withstand and redirect All Might's own punches without losing consciousness. The Spetsnaz rounds do not reach his skin, but the Spetsnaz are not trying to reach his skin. They are firing toward the civilian areas behind him. They are forcing him to turn, to move, to sprint, to use one-for-all energy, intercepting threats that pose no danger to him, but lethal danger to everyone else. Every response costs time. The GRU logs at 0650 confirm 14 minutes of hero form consumed in 50 minutes of Spetsnaz engagement. The field commander sends 1 assessment to Moscow, ahead of schedule. 0800 hours, 38 minutes consumed, 2 hours and 20 minutes remaining. The infantry's rifle fire did not damage All Might. It established the clock is running. The 58th Combined Arms Army deploys along a 40-kilometer front. T-90M Prorive. Main battle tanks, 125mm smoothbore cannon, Mach 5 APFSDS penetrator, 1,700mm of RHA penetration. In My Hero Academia Season 3 Episode 10, All Might trades direct impacts with All for One, a villain combining dozens of quirks, generating energy outputs that exceed conventional physics entirely. T-90 rounds are significant weapons. They are not all for one. They flatten against his hero form without registering. Then the toss. 1A thermobaric systems open fire. Not at All Might. At the civilian evacuation corridor 3 kilometers east, the toss. 1A fires fuel-air explosive rockets that detonate in a 300-meter burn radius, collapsing lungs through overpressure. At 100 meters range, 40 rockets in the first salvo, all targeting civilians. All Might abandons his position instantly. He catches all 40 rockets in 4 minutes of sustained full-power, one-for-all movement, each interception requiring a maximum output smash to redirect the warhead trajectory. The GRU logs this phase carefully. 22 minutes of hero form burned in 4 minutes of combat. This is the 22-minute decision from the opening. The Kremlin receives 1 word from the field commander. Proceeding. 09:30 hours, 1 hour and 14 minutes consumed, 1 hour and 44 minutes remaining. The ground forces did not slow All Might. They cut his remaining time in half. This is the moment the Russian strategy shows its full design. The S-400 Triumph air defense system activates across a 400-kilometer engagement envelope, tracking 300 targets simultaneously. 40 missiles in active flight at once, each carrying a 143-kilogram warhead at Mach 6 terminal velocity. Simultaneously, 6 Su-57 Felon 5th-generation stealth fighters deploy R-37M hypersonic air-to-air missiles at Mach 6 across a 300-kilometer engagement range. In My Hero Academia Season 3 Episode 10, the United States of Smash All Might's final technique, performed at near-zero physical capacity, generates wind pressure measured at weather station level across surrounding districts. At full capacity, the S-400 missiles are not a lethal threat, they are a time weapon. The combined S-400 and Su-57 engagement forces All Might into a sustained aerial defense posture for Su-400. 34 minutes intercepting missiles, redirecting warheads, operating at altitude, where one-for-all energy expenditure runs faster than ground combat, by a factor the GRU models predicted with precision. At the end of the aerial phase, the time log reads 1 hour and 48 minutes consumed, 1 hour and 12 minutes remaining. The Russian commander's report to the Kremlin is 4 words: past the halfway mark. 1200 hours, 2 hours and 11 minutes consumed, 47 minutes remaining. The aerial engagement did not break All Might. It broke his margin. 3 Iskander-M ballistic missile batteries deploy from separate positions across a 500-kilometer arc. The Iskander-M reaches Mach 7 in terminal phase, carries a 500-kilogram warhead, and is physically impossible to intercept below 50 kilometers altitude. 6 missiles launch simultaneously, from each battery 18 total, arriving from 18 separate vectors, targeting 18 separate civilian population centers. All Might has one body. He intercepts every missile. Each interception requires approximately 30%, one-for-all output, to generate sufficient impact force to redirect a Mach 7 warhead. 18 simultaneous interceptions across a 500-kilometer arc burns 28 minutes of hero form. The Russian commander is no longer filing reports. He is watching a countdown clock on a single screen. 47 minutes became 19 minutes in one engagement phase. He says nothing. There is nothing left to say. 14:30 hours, 2 hours and 47 minutes consumed. 13 minutes remaining. 500 T-14 Armata tanks form a complete perimeter. The T-14 carries the 2 A-82 1M cannon, the most accurate tank gun ever manufactured in an unmanned turret, with crew protected in a forward armored capsule. Its active protection system intercepts incoming rounds at 50 meters. These tanks are not here to destroy All Might. The Russian commander knows they cannot. He also knows they do not need to. Their orders are to fire continuously, not for lethal effect, but to force response, force movement, force the last 13 minutes to burn as fast as possible. All Might looks at the tank formation, then north, toward the civilians, 6 miles away. Then at his hands already losing definition at the edges, the hero form beginning its final recession, the way it always does in the last minutes. He makes his decision without hesitation, because All Might has only ever made one kind of decision. As established in My Hero Academia Season 1, Episode 1, the symbol of peace does not calculate. He protects. He does not engage the tanks. He runs north at full one-for-all velocity. He reaches the civilian population in 40 seconds and begins evacuation at maximum output. The T-14s pursue. They cannot match his speed. At 14:58, 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 43 seconds after the engagement began, the hero form expires. Not on a battlefield. In a field 4 miles from the tank formation, between 500 tanks and 200 civilians who are not yet clear. He is Toshinori Yagi now, thin, coughing blood, standing with his arms out. Not running, not fighting, just standing between them. The Russian commander looks at the drone feed for 11 seconds, a frail old man, coughing, refusing to move. The tanks are 4 miles away. The civilians are behind him. The RS-28 Sarmat launch codes are on the table. The commander closes the folder. He gives one order. Full stop. Operation ZAKAT ends at 15:12 hours. The field adjutant present records in his personal memoir that the commander said 8 words before leaving the room. We won. And I will not give that order. When the engagement records are compiled, the numbers tell a specific story. Russian military casualties total 11,200. The lowest in PowerCell XP series history, because All Might's primary objective was never the Russian military, it was never the battle. Hardware losses total $340 billion. All Might's hero form lasted 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 43 seconds, 1 minute, and 17 seconds short of his maximum. 1,473 civilians were evacuated before the form expired. 200 were not. All Might stood between them anyway. The final line of the GRU debrief does not address whether Russia won or lost. It addresses something the analysts had no category for: a man who knew he was out of time, out of strength, and out of options, and did not move. The Russian military built the perfect strategy to defeat All Might. He just refused to make it matter. Here is the question with no clean answer. If the commander had given the final order, could Toshinori Yagi have survived? And would it have mattered to him if the civilians got out? Drop your answer below. The Gojo Satoru breakdown is on screen right now.